8-4, but we're still bitching. We are here, and in the left corner, we've got coming in at 6'3", 330 pounds, coming in with the realness of the Coaches Huddle faithful. We got the coach, and in your left corner, we got the Broccolite, Mr. ChunderBoi. All things Brock Purdy, coming in at a svelte 6'1", 280 pounds. ChunderBoi, let's get it. Let's go. It's time, bro. It's time. Let's get ready to rumble. I have been dying to talk to you, bro. I've been dying to talk to you. So look, let's not bury the lead. Hey, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm pumped. You're pumped. We're all pumped. Talk to me. First off, let's get the niceties out of the way. How are you doing? How you been?
I'm doing really good, brother. I just want to say real quick, I don't think I've said this. One of the most underrated things about you and the way that you do your channel, your intros before you hit the intro video are so on point, bro. That gas every time, bro. Like you have like this special skill set for just nailing the vibe of what's going on and what we're getting into.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to have a pulse on what's going on. You got to have an ear to the street. So look, man, the San Francisco 49ers climb to 8-4, 4-1 in the division, playoff bound. Right about now, we control our own destiny.
That's right.
If you look at what we got in the playoff picture, we'll get to it, but we're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
But something's amiss. The faithful aren't happy. We seem to be a house divided.
All right? A lot of pessimism.
A lot of pessimism. First things first, let's take care of the boys. Let's take care of the team. All right. 8-4. Let's just deal with the game. We got all day. You know what we're here for. Let's just deal with the game. What are your game reactions to the Niners playing the Carolina Panthers on Monday night?
So my first reaction after this game, and it really is the last two games, one of the reasons that I don't feel like this team has any life once we get to the playoffs, I do think we'll win enough games to get in, but we're basically dead man walking when we get there because it's nothing but good teams, and we are just, you can only scheme around so many holes. Okay. However, the way the defense, for whatever reason in football, turnovers come in bunches. There's no real rhyme or reason. There's no metric you can look at, which bugs me. But there's nothing that you can stat and strategize. They just come in bunches. And if the 49ers defense starts getting turnovers, they do have a real shot against anybody.
I'll tell you this right now.
They have enough on offense.
I'll tell you this right now. It was the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, traditionally, before his game with the Atlanta Falcons, averaged around 200 yards a game passing, very anemic numbers, struggled with the offense. And he had like a spike, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns versus Atlanta. Best game of his career. I think that's the best game in franchise history, I believe, as far as passing is concerned. I believe I saw that stat somewhere. Somebody check me on that. But he comes in and lays an egg. 18 for 29, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. Jair Brown. Dude, we can start talking about the individual players that stepped up. The biggest thing, right? Because the picks, Jair is a little bit of a redemption story. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
He was regressing big time, moved the dime linebacker, went back to free safety. He seems to be fitting in exactly with what Saleh wants to do. I heard some commentary after the game. Now, now that he got 2 picks, you can kind of let some things out. I heard a couple of things about Robert Saleh not necessarily trusting Jair Brown, not putting him in that position for what he's been doing throughout camp in recent games, especially getting burnt in passing coverage. But I think that this is the beautiful thing about coaching, which is I've had knucklehead players. I've had guys that I just don't get along with. Everybody's not going to like how you coach, right?
That's right.
And it gets super frustrating when a player makes you go into your bag. I mean, we talk about, tangible versus intangible, where I talk about showing examples versus giving examples versus kinetic learning and all of this stuff that you learn as a coach trying to get through to this kid. And you get to a point where it has nothing to do with the process and everything to do with the moment. Sometimes I've seen guys respond because it's, I need you. I need you. I'm over the critiquing. I'm over what you do good and what you do bad. Hey, here goes a game plan that works for you. Okay. But you have to play. There's nobody left. All right. And I'm a level set with you, kid. I need you. There's nobody else. So I'm coming down off whatever perch that I've had with you, trying to talk down to you, trying to get you to do things. I need you to come down off yours. Let's meet in the middle. I don't care how much you fuck up. Ain't nobody else. I can't give you the hook.
That's
okay?
Right.
Play your ass off. All right. And let's see what happens. All I care is effort. What's my phrase, Damon? I don't care how long you fuck up.
Make them fast.
Do them fast, dog. So Jair Brown, the relationship between Jair Brown and Robert Saleh and the coaching staff, it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see that coming to fruition before our eyes. That's how I interpreted his performance, and good on him. The last thing we need is more guys feeling like they don't get what they need on this team or they're not playing their right position. One thing that I will say is that's the coaching side of it. Robert Saleh, with every game, I'm feeling like we're gonna lose this guy, bro. Like we're gonna lose him, bro. He's doing way too good. But what I will hone in on is the run defense, bro. That is an effort type of endeavor. Okay, right. It's a man's game. It's still football at the end of the day. Rico Dowdle, who everybody was talking about, this guy gets yards in chunks. He's the tip of the spear. You got to watch out for this dude. 6 attempts, okay, for 38 yards rushing. One long run of 17 yards. Hubbard, 3 attempts for 16 yards rushing, okay? And that was in that drive where they went down and scored. I'm going to tell you this right now. The Panthers screwed up. They should have started Hubbard. They should have started Chuba Hubbard. He was giving us fits in their scoring drive. There was a pocket in that game where Chuba Hubbard was not only being a good runner, but he was also killing in the pass game. He was 4 for 4 for 27 yards, and he's a tough runner. The Panthers, God love them, whatever. Their loss is our gain. But I'll tell you this. I was very pleased with the defense. Not only that, responding to the turnovers. We'll get to the turnovers, but how they responded, getting the offense off the field. I mean, dog, the DNA of this defense, the DNA of, I would see us bend but not break for years. I've seen it for years, literally, almost a decade. Bend but not break, right? Offense sputters out. Even in our best years, Damon, the offense throwing the defense back on the field for multiple drives before the offense finally gets it together. And we've profited off of having a defense that can give you the ball back multiple times. But if you just take the narrative away from this season, that was vintage 49er football. Offense is sputtering. Offense isn't getting it together. They need to take some time. They're not adjusting in the middle of the game. They need to get to halftime. The game plan isn't working, right? As opposed to when it is, it's swimming. But when it isn't, we got to go through this whole stubborn act of admitting that our game plan doesn't work and then finally doing something in the second half. But while all of that's going on, the defense is continuously giving us the ball back, getting turnovers, right? Getting us field position. That's why we have succeeded in years past, and it was awesome to see it today. What do you think yesterday?
I think it was really good complementary football in the way that the 49ers kept giving the ball back to the offense. And although there were far too many mistakes from the offense, obviously the turnovers being the primary ones, at the end of the day, the offense was stringing together some longer drives and giving the defense some time. So this defense, for the rest of the season, we don't have a defense with stars all over the place anymore because all the best players are either hurt and playing hurt or just out. So our defense has to play a bend but don't break. We've heard that ad nauseum, but they really do have to play a style of defense of just don't give up explosives. Make the other team go on a 12-play drive, a 14-play drive, and then capitalize on any mistakes that you can force them into. That's how we're going to have to play defense. But that kind of defense only works in short bursts because if you have to do that, drive in and drive out because your offense isn't able to retain the ball, at least for a couple of possessions here and there, your defense will get gassed halfway through the third quarter, and you get your doors blown off in the last 3 or 4 possessions. So this style of defense can work, especially if we start taking the ball away, because that's how this type of defense really works against good teams, is you just don't let them blow your doors off, and you have a couple of game-changing turnovers that can flip an entire game. Complementary football is going to be the recipe moving forward. Whether or not it actually, turns out that way, is it something that becomes consistent? Is this now our identity where they just play really good possession, fundamental football, and we don't allow the big plays? We've got a shot.
Hey, man, I love it. Let's get into the playoff picture a little bit right now. The 49ers are currently 5th in the NFC and hold a wild card position. In the competitive NFC West division, they trail the Rams, who are 9-2, by the way, by 1.5 games, and the Seahawks, who are 8-3, by a half a game. The NFC West standings are as follows: Rams, Seahawks, Niners, and the Arizona Cardinals at 3-8. We're 4-1 in the division. The Seahawks are 2-2. The Rams are 2-1. They've got a lot of work to do going into the rest of the season. As far as key tiebreaker advantages, the division record, which we talked about, is pristine, 4-1. Our conference record is 8-2, which is very strong. And our head-to-head, we split the Rams 1-1, beat the Seahawks 1-0, which we have to play them in the last game of the season, and we swept the Cardinals. As far as the remaining 5 games, though, Damon, Week 13 versus the Browns home. What do you think? Can we afford to lose or win that game? Or is this a must-win game?
No, I don't think we have. I think the only must-win games are the Bears and Seattle, because those are the teams we're competing with to get into the playoffs. And so letting those teams get a game on us, right? If we lose to the Bears and we have to go against a tiebreaker against the Bears to get into the playoffs, we're out. Same thing with Seattle. If it comes down to a tiebreaker with Seattle, if they win that next game, now we have a better division record, I think, than they do. So we might still be able to get over on them. But if they win that game, they're now up 1.5 games. So that means they would have to lose 2 out of these next 5 for that game to, So there's just a lot going on with those 2 games. We could lose the Cleveland game and the Indianapolis game, and I don't think it really has much of an effect on our overall outlook, because I don't expect the other 4 or 5 teams that we're in the hunt with right now to win out. There's going to be some losses from those other 6, 7, 8 win teams. So I just think we have to win the games that directly impact our playoff, our ability to get into the playoffs, which is the Bears and the Seahawks primarily.
So I think the biggest thing for me is trying to figure out how we're going to beat the Bears, okay, and the Seahawks. Not to kind of kill the season, but to be real with you, we can lose our next 3 games.
We can, yeah.
Honestly, we can lose our next 3 games. The biggest thing is that we've done such a good job. Hold on. We've done such a good job on. I got a rack of St. Louis ribs on right now. We're just trying to make sure that we get them together. But
don't burn the ribs, coach.
We can't
burn the ribs.
Listen, I got baby girl downstairs with the apple juice. I just told her to spritz it for a little bit. We'll be fine. All right. So look, I see where we're at with the playoffs, and I, for lack of a better term, we control our own destiny.
That's correct. We got to win more than the other teams we're competing for a spot with. That's it. Or we have to win as many.
Look, so here we go. Let's get to some super chats real quick. Daza0187 says Brock's moving further away from Drew Brees and close to Jameis Winston. Let's hold off. Okay. Bill Kennedy 9554 says, how long a leash will Kyle give Brock in bad weather? We'll see. We'll see exactly what's going on with that. Gammon Brown gifted 10 of the Coaches Huddle memberships. Gammon is ridiculous. Thank you, Gammon. Gammon Brown gives 10 memberships to the Coaches Huddle. Also, Bill Kennedy 9554, should GTD solid head coach job in 3 years max or less?
Guaranteed, maybe?
Should we guarantee Saleh a head coaching job for 3 years max or less?
I'm not sure exactly what that's asking.
Should have guaranteed Saleh a head coaching job in 3 years max and less.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. I'm sorry, Bill, if we didn't really get the full sentiment of your comment. Thank you, though. Gammon Brown, thanks, Gammon. Can we get a plug to ChunderBoi's channel? Go ahead, plug yourself, baby.
So, well, right now I'm trying to get videos up. I've been struggling with StreamYard, but I should be getting that straightened out this week. The Niner narrative is the whole point is we bring context to the conversation. That's kind of the whole motto is we try to look at things as encompassing as possible. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people cherry pick stats and try to make a narrative by taking stats and sticking it in there. So I try to look at things as broadly as possible and then try to have the narrative be based on whatever the information is telling me, not what I think.
Awesome. Gammon Brown gifted 10 Coaches Huddle memberships, which is awesome. Hey, Gammon's just trying to, like, Gammon's putting himself in a position.
He's just flexing on everybody right now.
Like Gammon could really just like real live disrespect me and be like, dude, I got mulligans. What are you talking about? You know how much I've done for your channel? I can straight up disrespect the shit out of you. I don't care. I see what you're doing. I see what you're setting up, Gammon. All right. Hey, let's get into our next topic. You know what? Let's do it. Let's get straight into Brock. I was going to do buy or sell the running game but we know why we're here, bro. We know why we're here. Let's get to it. Brock Purdy, 23 for 32, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 fucking picks. 2 nasty picks. All right. Listen, what say you? All right. Now, look, Brock has been out for most of the year with a turf toe-y thing. All right. It's pretty serious. I've been heard. You know what I'm saying? I've heard. Tell me, should we be giving Brock any grace? And is any of his performance last night due to rust, or can we attribute this to the regression of Brock Purdy? And I'm going to give you something. Let's, and this is something that I feel like kind of goes off the rails. You know, we got to scope the debate. Brock Purdy, his numbers, which you love, get brought into what he's been doing recently. And I think that we have to start understanding that Brock Purdy has been in the league for multiple years. There tends to be this puppy mentality with him where we still look at him like he just got drafted. He's been in the league for multiple years. Brock Purdy is a veteran in the NFL. All right. He's not a first-time starter. He's not a Mr. Irrelevant coming off the draft. He is a starting quarterback in the NFL who is on his second contract. Can we accept that? Can we accept that?
Yeah.
All right. And all of the expectation that comes with that. All right.
That's right.
So would it be fair, before we start talking about Brock's numbers, would it be fair to start looking at Brock from the perspective of his last 30 games? I don't even want to say since he got paid, that's not fair. Since last year, that's not fair. But just Brock's last 30 games. Is that fair? Would that be fair?
I mean, that's what, 2023, 2024. No, because now you're basically going from the Ravens game and since then, basically. Is that kind of what? Is that's 30 games?
That's the Ravens game.
I figured. So,
give or take, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably right. Yeah, roughly, maybe a little before the Ravens game. So the thing about Brock and the assessment on Brock. Okay, let me start from what you asked first. Should Brock get a little bit of grace for rust and so on and so forth? Maybe, but I'm not about making excuses. I've tried to never be that person. I expect people to perform the way that I expect them to perform, regardless of what circumstances may or may not be going on. If you're on the field, I expect you to play at a high level. That's football. That's professional football. That's how it works. And so with Brock, the thing that drives me bananas with all the conversations around Brock is, number one, people seem to change and shift the way the narrative, the way they're talking about it, with whatever the situation is that's going on. As an example, this last game, Brock played well most of the game and had a handful of balls that were just bad balls, right? And you can say it was because he threw a bad ball or because he was late or so on and so forth, right? But he had at least 3 or 4 that were not good balls, and a couple of them got picked off. 3 of them got picked off. If you go to the last game that he played, right, against Arizona, did he play a good game?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 of the two picks got dropped. Would you still think he played a good game if those 2 picks got caught?
No.
Okay, so the idea that 2 bad balls can be the difference between it's a good game and a bad game is just not something that I subscribe to overall. I think that you have to look at the entire thing, and you can play well for the most part, and it's a losing effort because you had a handful of bad plays. That's the way football works. But that doesn't mean you just sucked today. No, it means you had a couple of bad plays and it cost your team the game. That happens. Now, the other hand with Brock, and this is the thing that's most important for me, is there's clearly indications of regression from Brock over the last 30 games since that Ravens game, right? And the things that he's regressing in my opinion, are 2 things. And it's the reason it's so significant is because they used to be his biggest strengths and they're now becoming a liability. That is throwing with anticipation, because he does not throw with anticipation anywhere near as well as he was doing early in his career. That ball that got picked off that he was throwing to Pearsall over the middle, the reason that got picked off, okay, it's a great play by the defender, right? That's my first thing that I thought was, man, that's a great play, playing alert coverage by that defender to literally come across midfield and pick off a ball. But when you go back and review the tape and you actually look at the play, Brock hitched up twice on that throw instead of once, which makes that ball just a little bit late. If he throws that ball with anticipation, the ball's on Pearsall before that cornerback can get over there. So it's not just like he threw a bad ball or didn't see a defender. No, he was late on that throw. If Brock Purdy gets back to throwing on time and in rhythm with the offense and with anticipation, he is an extremely effective quarterback, especially in this system, because that style of quarterback is exactly that's the perfect prototype for this system. But I think Brock's a terrific quarterback. I expected a little bit more rust in Arizona. I didn't see much. So it's difficult to say that what we saw in this game can be chalked up to rust, was because almost all the bad throws they weren't like bad reads. He just totally missed a guy. No, he was late or threw a bad ball. Every one of them. It's fixable, but at the same time, as you're saying, he's not a rookie anymore. You're a veteran starting quarterback. You can't have that happen. You certainly can't have it happen over and over again. So I'm not going to sit here and act like Brock played a terrible game because of a handful of bad balls, but I'm also not going to defend a performance that should have been a losing performance if it wasn't for our defense getting the ball back for him.
All right, so it's my turn. So here we go. Let's get into a couple of things. All right. This is Brock Purdy's pass efficiency versus Carolina. This is what thank you, SF Data Niners on Twitter. Thanks, buddy. You put me on. So look, this is what I'm talking about with Brock Purdy. If we look at what Brock has done versus the Carolina Panthers, right? We see that he's 4 for 6, 36 passing yards. Let's go from left to right, okay? He's 1 for 2, 25 passing yards, all right, with deep balls to the corner, correct?
Okay.
You see that. All right. Let's leave the red box alone for a second. He's 0 for 1 with a negative 87 EPA. All right. Yeah, I know you love EPA. I know this is your thing.
I do love
all right?
EPA. It's a good stat.
He's 0 for 1, all right, for intermediate throws, all right? Now, these are throws at 15-plus yards. Now, let's look at 10 yards. He's 3 for 3 for 21 passing yards, 0.96 EPA. I know you love EPA. Can I interest you in the EPA? All right? He's 2 for 2, all right, at passes under 10 yards over the middle of the field. He's 2 for 2 at passes at 15 for 15 passing yards at the right side of the field. Are you getting the picture? He's 4 for 6, all right, at passes under 5 yards, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, all right? Then for shits and gigs, he had 4 passing attempts behind the line of scrimmage, all right? He was 3 for 3 in the right flat. Would you look at that? Now, if you start looking at what Mac Jones did for the 49ers as the backup quarterback starting instead of Brock Purdy, would you not say that Mac Jones, this looks like, without the picks, rather, this looks like more of a Mac Jones stat line as far as getting the ball out quick, intermediate to short passes, showing accuracy and efficiency and timing, right? If you took this away and said this was Mac Jones, would you not argue with it? You say, yeah, because, hey, Mac sometimes gets a little bit too overzealous. I could see him throwing 3 picks down the middle of the field, past 15 yards. I could see that. But all of the efficiency deep, all of the efficiency below, for short to intermediate passes, I see the efficiency. Do you see what Brock Purdy can do when he stays within this is how I interpret this. 10 yards and below is staying within the frame of the offense. One thing that you failed to bring up while you were talking about the bad balls is the bad decisions that were linked to the bad balls, which were underneath open guys in the flat that Brock is ignoring to push the ball down the field. Would you disagree with that?
I do, totally.
Tell me why.
Okay, so there's a guy open underneath, and if you can hit a ball 12 yards, if he throws those balls on time and on target, they get caught. Would you agree that that's better than throwing a 3-yard check down?
If he throws the ball on time
and on target, and those balls get caught by our guy instead of the other team, wouldn't you agree that's a better result than a 3-yard check down? So I don't have any problem.
No, I don't. Wait a minute. Let's go. Wait a minute. Whoa, stop. You can't ask me canned fucking questions. Let me chill.
Here we go.
Hold on.
They're getting a peek behind the curtain right now.
Yes, they are. You can't give me canned questions that hypothetically answer your point to segue into you finishing. All right. You can't ask me if Brock Purdy throws on time and isn't late, is the ball going to get there? That's like saying if I got a 10-inch dick and am I a porn star? What the fuck do you think? Yes. So yeah, if Brock Purdy throws on time and with accuracy, the ball's going to get there. What the fuck kind of question is that?
That means it's not a bad decision. It's a bad throw. If it's a bad decision, it doesn't matter if he throws it on time and on target. It's a bad decision.
Okay, so hold on. Wait a minute. If you're double hitching, that means that you're waiting for the route to develop. Ergo, there are other receivers who are running shorter routes. You getting me ignorant on here, bro. Why are you doing this? Don't be obtuse.
That ball you're talking about, if he throws the ball with anticipation on the first hitch. So one of the things that made Brock Purdy so good early was he would throw a ball, and as the guy's coming out of the break, it's waiting on him. And Brock has not been doing that effectively for a while, season and a half.
I wonder what happened.
That's my biggest concern. Is because
what happened? What do you think was the catastrophic event that could have changed Brock Purdy's limited arm strength to begin with, and maybe it is not as strong? What do you think could have happened? Pray tell.
Are you talking about the injury?
Maybe.
I honestly just think that the same thing happened when he was at Indiana State, where early on in the process as a starter, he played, with instructor system. He elevated the entire program and was considered like a 3rd round pick type quarterback as a sophomore. And then he was almost not drafted after his junior and senior year. And I think that Brock kind of has this. He starts to feel himself, and that mentality really takes away from what his best attributes are. I think you're totally right about he tries to take too much too often. I think that's part of what you're trying to say, and I totally agree with that.
I'll tell you what I'm trying to say. Let's get into Brock Purdy's hero ball versus efficiency football analysis. All right, because you just went all over the map to try to explain why this dude ain't putting out the goods. In his last 30 games, hold on, here we go. In his last 30 games, here goes an interception breakdown. Total interception, he has 20 interceptions in his last 30 games. Games with at least one interception, he's 15 out of the last 30 games. That's a 50% mark. I know you know how to do numbers. Multiple interception games, he has 5 games with at least 2+ interceptions. His worst performance was 4 interceptions versus the Ravens in 2023 since week 16. And in his recent trend, he's 7 interceptions in just 5 games in 2024. He's averaging 1.4 interceptions a game, and he's only played about 3 games this season. All right. Deep ball efficiency decline. Let's get to the deep ball. All right. In 2023, which is Brock's best year, right? Can we all agree with that?
Yeah.
48.3% completion rate with zero interceptions. All right. He had an EPA of plus 59.66. All right.
Which is very high.
Crazy. Right. That's when everybody was saying Brock Purdy was elite.
Yeah. MVP caliber. Yep.
This is what we can count on. If Brock Purdy can, how many times have we heard if Brock Purdy can just give us 2023, we'd be okay. I'd be okay with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, more than okay.
All right. 2024, deep passes now. 2024, he dipped from 48.3 to 40.4% in a completion rate with 2 interceptions. That's a plus 23 EPA. Still good.
Still really good. Yeah.
Still good. Huge drop off. Now, this is coming from a man who has told me that Brock Purdy didn't have an elite supporting cast. They were not the Avengers.
Not what I said.
But what?
I said he did not have an all-time elite supporting cast like everybody said. He had one of the best supporting casts in football at the time. He did not have an all-time. Everybody keeps acting like he had one of the best supporting casts ever, and it's just not the case. He had a very good. What are you
talking about, Damon?
What do you mean?
What? Do we have to do this again?
That's
top 5 in their position. Christian McCaffrey, yes or no?
Yeah.
George Kittle, yes or no?
Yeah.
Trent Williams, yes or no?
Yeah.
That's 3.
That's those 3. But everybody else
Kyle Shanahan.
Stop it with the fullback.
You don't want to do it. 4
with the fullback.
Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel was in the top 10 receiver in the league in 2023.
No. He had 8 games in 2021 where he was an elite wide receiver. That is all for his career.
My man had Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey,
yes,
Kyle Juszczyk,
yes,
George Kittle,
yeah,
Trent Williams,
yep.
And you want to tell me that this guy, 1 year in the league, did not have an all-time supporting cast?
No,
before you answer,
cast, especially for the
before
time,
you answer, you are on YouTube and there are 198 people watching. Are you sure? Before you answer this, you want to tell me that in 2023, Brock Purdy did not have an all-time supporting cast?
No, 1998 49ers is an all-time supporting cast. The Minnesota Vikings, when they had both Randy Moss and they had Chris Carter. The Broncos, when they had 4
guys. No. I'm not letting you off the hook. You named 2 guys.
Oh, that Minnesota Vikings roster?
Hold on. I named
that had like 7 All-Pros.
Excuse me. I named you at least 6 or 7 guys on one side of the ball, mind you. On one side of the ball. By the way, Jawan Jennings was on that team, who was one of the most underrated X factors in the league at the time. Wasn't Ray McCloud on that team?
Yeah, probably.
Bro, what are we talking about?
So
Jordan Mason, hold on. Jordan Mason was on this team.
For the sake of
Jordan, hold on, wait a minute. Jordan Mason was on this team eating sunflower seeds on the sideline. All right, so, Jordan Mason couldn't even get no burn on that squad. What are you talking about?
For the sake of discussion, I will capitulate. So, am I being too analytical? Am I trying to am I doing too much saying that they didn't have an all-time elite? It's just how I feel. I feel like that roster, the weapons he had, I feel like it gets overhyped. But for the sake of discussion, I will capitulate to you. That is a great supporting cast. Absolutely.
All right.
I just don't want to get too bogged down in too focused on that part of the conversation because it's a semantics. We're arguing semantics.
All right. So let me tell you how I'm playing with numbers now.
Okay.
Deep ball efficiency decline. We already looked at 2024, which was 40.4% completion rate, 2 interceptions, plus 25.23 EPA, down from 59.66. But we got hung up on 2023 because we had to get you straight on the supporting cast. Now, this is how you play with numbers. In 2023, Brock Purdy's completion rate, his deep ball efficiency is 55.6%. That's the best that he's had since 2023, which we all would agree is his best year, right? That is a number. That number is what made me go look for this because you have been beating me over the head with this stat when it as compared to Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, because you've always been talking about Brock Purdy's deep ball efficiency has been doing phenomenal. It's way better than Mac Jones. All right, cool. While his 2025 deep completion percentage looks good, right, at the 55.6%, he has 4 interceptions on just 18 deep passing attempts. That is alarming. His EPA on deep throws has plummeted from the 59.66 in 2023 just to 2.94 in 2025. So even though you can still look at Brock's numbers, I know what. Now, I don't want to say you because I don't want to demonize you, but there's a narrative about Brock's supporting cast that it wasn't so good is because what we don't get to do is look at how skewed the numbers were for him in 2023 and come off as if those numbers were solely off of the back of Brock. That was his supporting cast, okay? Because if you want to sit here, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying you hypothetically. In general.
Yeah.
But you can't say that Brock Purdy didn't have a great supporting cast in 2023 when he had a ridiculous EPA at 59.66. And then he plummets all the way down to plus 2.94, which in some worlds is still a decent EPA. But you can still look at the numbers and say, how can you be saying Brock Purdy's struggling in 2025? He has a plus EPA. Where has his plus EPA came from? What has that dropped to? All right. And the argument for his EPA could honestly be, oh, well, yeah, what is another conversation around Brock? We just need him to get back to 2023. You know what else needs to get back in 2023? An all-world team. Because that's what Brock was playing with in 2023. One thing that also doesn't get brought up is when we talk about his supporting cast, the supporting cast is on offense is not all that was there. We had an elite defense. Elite. So now, when everybody kind of falls back to earth, you trade a Deebo Samuel, you move on for an Eric Armstead, you move on for a Hufanga, you move on from a Dre Greenlaw, you fucking cook the books, you pay a couple of old guys. Brock comes in, and now he's falling into the regular doldrums of what an NFL team has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Okay? Half of the league is going through what we're going through right now. All right? Half of the teams that we're playing are going through what we're going through right now. As far as injuries, that is commonplace in the NFL. Now, if you want to talk about the veracity of injuries, nobody hangs their jersey in the rafters with injuries like the Niners. All right? We wrote the book on that. But as far as a team regressing from whence it once came, especially being Mr. Irrelevant coming into that, you got to start understanding as the dust settles, so is Brock. And what you have to do is start realizing that maybe what he's showing you over more of a consistent time, Brock is starting to play more games before he's had that 23 season. So you're about to have more time on task
after than before, yeah.
More of a sample size of after than before, and then you're going to be completely upside down in your debate. Because now we're going to be starting to talk about what's least versus what we see. So look, I'm not trying to corner you, buddy.
Yeah, I can tell.
I can see. You understand. I'm not trying to corner you.
So at a certain point, obviously, if things continue to trend, let me phrase it this way. I'm not ready to give up on Brock. Brock played so well so early, and there was no real legitimate explanation. The only explanation that made any sense to anybody was he's playing with an all-star cast. And I tried to explain that he is playing better than he's being given credit for. It's not all the all-star cast. Then in 2024, when he doesn't play as well, and the narrative switches to, see, he doesn't have an all-star cast, he's a scrub. And a lot of people try to act like, well, I didn't say he. They're everything with what they're saying. They're trying to say that he's not a good quarterback. The fact is, at that point in time, it was the worst supporting cast that the 49ers have had in a very long time. Separation rates, pressure rates allowed by the offensive line. Everything that you look at and the film all showed. Oh, and by the way, worst special teams unit in football in a while and one of the worst defenses in football. That's what he had in 2024. And he still put up almost 4,000 yards and had decent numbers. So I'm not ready to give up on Brock just because 2024 didn't, because 2024 wasn't as good as 2023. Now, the season we have this year, we only have a 4-game sample size. So if we see more games like what we saw last night, with Brock being late on reads, with him not anticipating routes, with him not throwing with touch and anticipation, I will be out on Brock. I'm not ready to give up on Brock because I've seen both sides of the candle. I've seen what happens when the offense plays well around him, and I've seen what happens when everything around him is bad. His floor is 2024. And with a better defense, we probably still win 10 games. So that's all I'm getting at with. I get that a lot of people, call me like I'm the Purdy stand and stuff like that, and I get that. I'm just not ready to give up on the kid.
You're the Purdy Stan Lee. Okay, it's okay. Put some respect to my man's name.
At the end of the day, I'm just not ready to give up on the kid. There's too many things about him that I like from an intangible perspective, and if I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong, but I'm not ready to give up on him yet.
All right. So look, Tom comes in with a comment. Brock's deep ball has regressed because he's not driving the ball, and he says that's not on the toe. It's poor footwork, and that's totally not correct. Just 3 bad throws. It's not 3 bad throws.
He's totally correct. This is now becoming a trend. It's becoming an issue. That's well pointed out, Tom.
Look, let's get to some super chats. You in this Brock situation. Can't believe you. All right, new member. Thank you, brother. San Antonio 210X. Thank you, bro. Too much sauce 33. Is Salah the best coach in the locker room? Ooh.
You want to take that one? Go ahead, coach. Tell us how you really feel. Just remember, there's 198 people watching. This is being recorded.
No, he's not.
This is being recorded.
He's not. And we're at 250, by the way. He's not.
Oh, nice. I don't think you can say that because when you look at the success of the two players, when they were in control of their own rosters, when they were in control of their own teams, wins are wins.
There you go. And that's what took me off the edge. I was about to be a prisoner of the moment.
You're going to go there.
I was trying so hard not to be a prisoner of the moment and say, yes, Kyle, he's trapped. No, he's not. And what you have to realize is that I brought this up while we were on the phone the other day. And I brought this up in comparison to Mac and Brock, but I'll switch this over to Kyle and Robert Saleh. It's way easier to take a job than it is to keep one.
Mm-hmm.
It's way easier.
That's right.
And I've been in both positions professionally through football, coaching, and playing with jobs. When you're the new guy or when you're coming in and you're trying to take a position, you've basically got everything in front of you, right? You can see exactly what the guy in front of you, his work process is. You understand to look at what he does bad, and you could really hone in on that, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're not paying attention from an assessment standpoint, you could look at the guy who's trying to take the job as like, yo, he's way better than you. He's kicking your ass. Case in point, we can look at Mac Jones's 2-minute drill or the fact that he plays with tempo and completely lean on that because that's not what Brock does well, right? We haven't seen Brock necessarily play with tempo. We haven't necessarily seen Brock deliver from the pocket. And Mac Jones does that in spades. And it's easy to look to be able to fill the 20 when you don't have to worry about the 80, right? And on the flip side, when you're trying to keep a job, they don't care about the 80. All the reasons why you're the guy, why you're the starter, Kyle Shanahan being a genius, the fact that he can just completely build an offensive game plan out of pure thin air. He always knows exactly what's going on with his offense. For some reason, there's no quarterback that can't come in the offense and he can't find some relative success. None of that matters.
That part is weird, though. That part is weird. I've never seen a coach have so much success with so many different quarterbacks. I don't know if any coach has ever had so many different quarterbacks playing his system in one stretch.
Andy Reid has totally had a lot of different quarterbacks playing this in his system. Andy Reid has had a lot. I mean,
that's one comparable.
Yeah. But I digress. What I'm basically trying to get at is that I'm paying attention to that scenario in terms of when we're talking about Robert Saleh. I get it. He's playing with a half a deck, not even a real deck. He's lost the best players on that side of the ball. He's playing rookies. I mean, the rookies are on fumes. They're playing way past what we expected to get out of them as far as reps are concerned. He's getting guys that we thought were absolutely down and out on the team, moving positions. They're coming in, having resurgent games. Look at Jair Brown. He's strategically using guys the right way, which I also want to give a kudos to Kyle in another topic, but he's strategically using guys the right way, moving Jair Brown to dime linebacker, making sure that he stays with Upton Stout. I mean, I was done with Upton Stout a couple of weeks ago because it's not because I don't like him as a player, but he was getting picked on. And staying with Upton Stout, being able to fold in Chase Lucas at the right times. I mean, all of that stuff. Being able to generate a pass rush with the musical chairs that's happening with our front seven, not just the D-line, but the linebackers, right? Curtis Robinson not being a squeaky wheel as a new starter in the game. All of that. You can give all of that to Saleh. But the facts is that when Coach Saleh was truly in the seat, he failed. I love Coach Saleh. I think he's an amazing coach. As a man, I respect him. But as a head coach, I think he would tell you that he wants another crack at it because it leaves a bad taste in his mouth. And as far as head coaching is concerned, Robert Saleh has not done what Kyle Shanahan has done.
And not close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So one thing that you have to understand is wrap your mind around this. Could there be a world where Robert Saleh is able to coach as well as he has because of Kyle Shanahan being a good head coach?
That's right.
So you got to be able to look at it in all from every angle, right? It's not just Robert Saleh's great at being a DC. Let's fold him into being a head coach. That's very silly, to be honest with you. But if you really look at just what you know as a sports fan and what you've seen thus far, Kyle Shanahan, he's the king. So when they win, he gets the credit. No matter how much we want to give Robert Saleh as much credit for what the defense is doing, it all goes through Kyle. So the same way we say Kyle is final word when we want to shit on him because things don't work out, when things go well, Kyle is final word.
That's right.
So that's just what it is, man. I don't like that we're agreeing so much, but it is what it is. All right. So look, let's get into our next topic.
Let's get back to the next topic so we can get off this agreeing stuff.
I don't like this shit. All right. So Daza 0187. The last 3 years, Brock has the most 2+ interceptions and a half over the last 3 years in the NFL with 8. Flacco has 6 and Trevor Lawrence has 6. Not great company. Not, man. It's not. We're gonna get these super chats out of the way so we can close out because I just want you to close out the show with. I feel like I beat you up a little bit. And you were very respectful, and I know that because of how we talk on the phone. So I'm very proud of you. I'm very impressed with your tact. But we're going to read these super chats, and I want you to close out with, where do we do with Brock Purdy? All right. What do we do with him? Because I want a salient perspective, all right, on the end game or the happily ever after. So let's just end. Let's go with Sean. We got a couple of more super chats. Let's get this going. Sean, my man, Sean. My bad, Sean. Sean, if Brock Purdy, if was a fifth, Brock is a descending player. Period. Y'all held on to Jimmy the same way you held on to Brock Purdy. Brock thinks he's better than he is. Period. And he's officially injury prone to boot. I agree with this. I know that you're going to respond to this later, but I agree with this. Like, did you see Brock Purdy do the first down, try to hit him with the, like, stop. There's a little bit of pressing too. Like, you mad that Mac Jones kind of came in here and swerved in your seat a little bit. Daza 0187, Brock Purdy has game manager talent, yet gunslinger mindset.
That's correct.
Yeah, Jesse says this all the time. Yeah, I agree with
it's a fair way to go about it. Yeah,
it's a fair way to go about it. All right, Gammon. Kyle took Brock's snap benefits at halftime, bro. How many times did Brock throw the ball in the second half?
Get back in the pocket, Gammon. Get back in the pocket. You are way out of pocket, bro.
It's not, bro. I agree with this.
I agree. Joke on the government shutdown.
You big Momo. All right. Gammon Brown 98. Kyle took Brock's snap. Oh, yeah, we already took that. Hey, thank you for the super chat, my man. BI of 65th. Yo, Rippin' Liz 76. Brock has a deep ball where? Lollipops. Bro, you have to be honest about what you've been seeing about those balls. I'm going to give you a chance. BI of 65th. My man again. Gammon Brown, I hope that you're trying to, I hope you weren't trying to say something on these super chats. BI, if you were trying to say something with these super chats, man, please put them in the comments, man, so we can read your super chat. I mean, if the donation is awesome, but if you were really trying to say something, I would hate not to get your comment. Gammon Brown, Zach Wilson won't come here if Salah is here. Rippin' 76, Mac can target all off the field. Purdy over 20 yards outside the hashes. Yikes. He basically all over the field.
I can show an entire relay of play after play after play of Brock throwing not just outside the hashes, but throwing opposite hash outside the hashes more than 20 yards. So
you're going to get your chance. Gammon gifted 20. All right, Gammon. All right, bro. You got to hurry up and get monetized, bro. Again. So Gammon, yeah, we can get, come on, man. You got to get monetized.
Yeah.
All right, so look, close us out. We've been here for 57 minutes. Make the faithful. Oh, we got another super chat. Close out the show. Shout out to BI65th. Thank you too.
For sure.
Hey, so look, close it out. Help all of us understand your methodology. Please.
Okay.
Talk to us about Brock Purdy in a salient way, because right about now, we don't feel good.
So earlier, Sean put the comment, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. And when you have a young player, everything is if. Because you have to process it through the lens of what happens when he gets better. Because if you don't think a player who's in his first or second year is going to get better, then why is he on your team? So it doesn't make any sense. So when I look at Brock through the lens of, I expected him to improve, he hasn't improved from that 2023 season. The 2024 season, if you remember, we had a conversation right after the season, and I was really down on Brock at the time. And then I went back and I looked at the film and was like, okay, I'm overreacting a little bit. Brock played better than I thought he did in 2024. The offense was very, very bad as a whole. It wasn't just Brock played terrible. And so I felt it was necessary to give Brock a little bit of grace for the way that 2024 went. I wanted to see how he went this year. One of the things that a lot of people may not know about me, I understand that, Sean. I'm getting there. I promise you, brother. So
yeah, I'm letting him, because listen, I love the super chats, but if you guys are in the chat rapid fire comment, if I catch it, I'm gonna put it in, because they're debating you. Like, listen, I want to thank you so much for this show because not a lot of people actually want to open up about the Brock Purdy discussion as it pertains to people who ain't feeling them, right?
Yeah.
You could David Lombardi this truly and just start spouting out stats and he's the best. What are you talking about?
I could create a narrative using the numbers.
You really could. You could stonewall me. You really could. You could stonewall me and the debate would go nowhere. So the fact that you're being malleable right now, I really want to thank you. But that's the reason why I'm giving these comments, because there is a real frustration. And the frustration is fans who ain't just walking up on football 3 weeks ago. We are informed sports fans. We have been watching football our entire lives.
And been 49er fans for a long time. So you're very invested.
So we are, this is where Joe Montana hanged his hat, bro. The best of the fucking best.
That's right.
All right. So quarterback debates hit different here.
Different.
All right. They hit different. Why is Brock? So let's get really, why is Brock Purdy wearing the mantle that Joe Montana once donned? And why is he worthy of it? Is he a paper champ? Is he wearing the Burger King crown? What are we doing?
So I think that, so one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is I did not want to pay Brock Purdy. I wanted him to play out his 4th year.
All right.
And the reason was because 2024, I was very concerned. I went back and looked at the film. I was like, okay, that's a little better than I thought it was. So I want to see another season. Does this season in 2025 look more like 2023 or more like 2024? Because now we have our answer. If he looks more like 2024, he's not your guy. You can find a replacement level quarterback for a lot less than $50 million a year. And that was the conversation around Brock the whole offseason. You don't have to pay him 50, even if the guy that you get for 10 or 12 or whatever, even if you get Mac Jones, let's assume or agree that Brock Purdy is a little bit better than Mac. It's not a huge gap, and you get Mac for 10. Like, that's the whole conversation with the Brock and Mac thing, so on and so forth. That's now null and void because of where we're currently at. That was an argument for this offseason. That argument's no longer relevant. That'll be for a different show. But at the end of the day, if Brock Purdy has certain characteristics that only the elite quarterbacks have, but that doesn't mean that Brock will develop into an elite quarterback. I don't want to give up on him yet because he has those traits that so few quarterbacks have. And it doesn't look good. It's trending in the wrong direction. I'm just not ready to give up on the kid yet.
Okay. All right, so it's affinity. I get it.
Sorry, one last thing, Coach. A big reason why so many people are anti-Brock is because a lot of those people got the wool pulled over their eyes by Jimmy Garoppolo. They got fooled by Jimmy. So they were big time Jimmy people, and they were arguing with all their friends about how awesome Jimmy is and using the stats, all this other stuff. And then it turns out Jimmy's actually a pumpkin. He's a tomato can, to use Broussard's reference. And then Brock comes along, and all the same arguments are being made about Brock. If you look at all these numbers, look at these great numbers. It's like, yeah, but watch him play. And so the difference is Brock is significantly better than Jimmy and has several intangibles that Jimmy never had. And I think there's a lot of people that got burned by Jimmy Garoppolo and refused to get burned again. And so they're being harder on Brock than they may have otherwise been had they not gotten burned by Jimmy once already.
Hey, listen. The biggest thing, the reason why this conversation matters so much to me right now, if people who watch the channel, they'll tell you, like, sometimes I loathe the quarterback debate. It's toxic. It gets way too, like, sassy, and it gets to the level of manhood where I can't punch you in the face, so I have to let you just bark on me. So I don't like talking about the quarterback debate because
that's right.
it gets way too, like, to a level where I'm like, So let's fight, bro. Because you obviously like really are feeling this. Let's just swing on each other. You know what I'm saying? So I don't go there. But the reason why I'm having this debate is that there was one thing that really stuck out to me with the Brock game, with the game yesterday, is Kyle lost faith yesterday. That was weird. The reason why Jimmy Garoppolo's name is coming up right now is you are a blind man if you do not see that Kyle took the ball out of Brock's hand in the second half. He took the ball out of his hands.
I think that's pretty. I mean, with the play calling, the play calling definitely changed. But to assume it was because he lost trust in Brock, we were ahead in the game. They may have just been trying to get to the end of the game. So now I'm not saying that that's the reason. I'm saying that there's several other reasons that you could go to as to why they shifted up how they were calling the game, how Kyle was calling the game. To just assume it's because he lost trust in Brock. I don't think. Okay, here, if Kyle didn't trust Brock, or if his trust was so shakeable that one bad half could make him switch up how he's going to call games, he would have never put Brock back in. He would have kept Mac.
No. I don't. That's not going to fly.
Away from
that's not going to fucking. That's not going to.
After the way Mac played, to go away from that and go to Brock shows that you have trust in Brock. Because no coach is going to pull a quarterback that's winning 80% of their games for a quarterback he doesn't trust. That doesn't make any sense.
Look, man, I'm sorry, but the reason why Brock won't get pulled is because of the same reason why Christian McCaffrey is getting spammed. The money. All right? The money. There you go, Trips. Thank you. It's the contract. Like saying that, trying to keep this whole debate on purely what Brock is doing on the field and not understanding that there's consequences to pay for Brock not performing under the contract that he got is silly, bro. Come on, bro. You know the contract plays. One of the reasons why this prolonged is because of the contract, because he rushed himself back when he shouldn't have. He'd have been back sooner if he would have sat.
That's true.
Come on, it's the money, bro.
Do you think that draft picks or money on the contract is considered which one is higher leverage? If a guy's a high draft pick, or if a guy's a highly paid player, which one of those has more leverage as far as you're talking about, like roster politics? Like you're gonna play the guy who makes the more money. Like that's just how roster politics work in the NFL, and you're totally correct about that. My question is, do you think that a guy who's a high draft pick is going to be more highly leveraged than a guy who's on a big contract?
Well, they're both assets, draft picks and money. All right, but because one is
Kyle Shanahan traded 3 first-round picks for a quarterback and only played him for 4 games because he didn't think he was good and he didn't trust him. So Kyle Shanahan has already showed us that if he doesn't trust a quarterback, he doesn't care how many assets or resources that have been put into that quarterback. He's not going to play somebody he doesn't trust.
All right, well, that's the floor. He played fucking Nick Mullins too, Damon. I mean, what is that prove?
Quarterback to play with Nick Mullins.
I mean, come on. I'm just saying though. Like,
he didn't have anybody else.
What does that even mean? I don't get that. Look, hey, listen, close me out. What do you got going on for the rest of the week, bro?
I should be getting my StreamYard back up tomorrow. I just want to apologize to everybody. It's been like 2 weeks since I posted something because I've been fighting with StreamYard. It should be back up tomorrow, and I'll start getting my Niners by the numbers back going every Wednesday, and we'll get the train rolling again. Just trying to put good content out there. Lastly, because this has been a little bit of a debate, one thing I hope that has come clear for everybody is I am willing to be wrong, but at the same time, you're always going to hear exactly what I actually think. I'm not going to hide something because I'm trying to make up some narrative. I'm not trying to look cool. I'm just talling people what
we know you're not trying to look cool. We know that.
I'm just trying to have as much integrity as possible and assess everything as honestly as I know how. This is really what I think. It's not just for the camera.
Oh, we know. It's very we are fully aware that you believe the shit you're saying.
That's what you'll get on my show. Pure honesty.
Yeah, hey, from your lips to God's ears. Hey, look, we got tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Tomorrow's Wednesday. Wednesday, we got 3 Deep with me, Jesse, and Grant. We got Faithful Review coming up on Thursday. Hey, this one was a good one. Guys, when you get a chance, man, become a member, bro. I'm getting some cooking stuff together. I'm starting a whole new lane with content. I can really cook, bro. I'm like,
he really can.
I'm really good, bro. And I'm gonna prove it, son. So
as a fellow fat kid, I second that motion.
Come on, man. Like I'm type nice. You know what I'm saying? So look, tune in when you can. This was a great one. The conversation that we had last night is way better than last night. Last night had a couple of drinks of Tito's and some bourbon, and it was unreal. But I'm glad
this one did too, brother. Cheers.
Hey, listen, and also from the Neutral Zone family and the Coaches Huddle platform and the Niner Narrative platform, happy holidays to all of you guys. Thanksgiving's on Thursday. Happy holidays. Grab yourself some, speaking of food, grab yourself some good food. Get with some good family. Get down. Argue about the Niners, okay? Smack your family members around. We love you. This is the coach signing off, guys. Stay low and keep your feet moving. Holla at y'all.